Hello, it's Andy from Mountain Computers, the Go Green PC Tulip guy. Today is June something, don't know which day it is. But today I want to show you how to transfer data between two computers using a network cable. Okay. Back in the day we had to have, or you'd go through a switch, or you could use a crossover cable to connect two computers directly, or you could pull the hard drive, okay, and transfer the data by plugging the hard drive of the old computer into the new computer and then directly transfer the data. But in my case, I'm just going to show you how to connect a network cable and then set up the sharing on the old computer, connect the new one, and then use Robocopy to transfer over all the data. It's pretty fast, it's pretty efficient. As long as the old computer is gigabit and the new one I know is gigabit, we're good to go. So let me pause the video for a second. I'm going to reposition it so you can see. Actually, I'll just show you the old computer, show you the new computer, and then show you just the cabling, switch out, and then I'll show you the screen for the old one, show you the screen for the new one, and show you how you do that. Okay? So just a second, stand by. Nice to see you again. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Okay? Old one. Okay, so here is the old computer, and that's their desktop. Okay? And then this over here is going to be their new computer. And there's the desktop. So I'm going to stop right here and then lower the video so you can see it, what I'm doing on the primary computer. Okay, just a second. Okay, so as you can see, this is the back of both computers. I'm going to take a simple network cable like this, okay, and then I'm just going to connect it to there and connect it to there. Okay, pretty simple. Okay, so quickly, let me describe to you that when we have this cable here between the two computers, there is no switch or router between them. Okay. Now, if I look at the network connections on both of these should say gigabit. So I'm going to pause for a second and then describe that. Okay, so on the new computer, down in the bottom right corner, you'll see the globe. It's not plugged in right now, so I'll go to Internet Settings here. I'll go to Ethernet. I'll go to Network and Sharing. And then I'll double click on this, single click this, and it says gigabit. Okay? That's cool. Now we know that we're connected between the two computers at gigabit speed. Okay? If it was, if the other one was like 100 megabit, this one would have to step down in order to negotiate. Okay? So let's close that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so on this computer, bottom right corner, we'll click on the network icon, open Network and Sharing Center, and you'll see local area connection, and that's gigabit as well. So that's cool. Now, I want to tell you what you need to do at this point is I want to share out this whole drive, okay, the whole drive. And let me show you how to do that. Control R, or Windows logo R, Command. Oh, I need to do this with administrative mode, okay? So run as administrator. Alright, I'm going to go back to the root directory and see what we got. Anything crazy? No, not really. So I'm going to say net share, see what's already being shared, nothing crazy. He has two drives in here. The C drive is where all of his data is, and his E drive, internal E drive, is what he uses the Windows 7 backup image built-in software for running backups. Okay, so I'm going to say net share C equals C:\\/ and then we say grant : everyone, full. Okay, now what that just did was it gave root permission to the C drive called C, and I'm granting everyone full permissions. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. If you haven't learned that before, that's pretty straightforward. Now I can see that under the control panel he might have a firewall that's on or an off. I don't know. So it's being controlled by something else, by Norton 360. So I'm going to go to Norton 360 right now. Looks like he's got something else going on here too. Okay, we're going to open up, we're going to disable the smart firewall. Okay, I'm going to say permanently until I turn it back on. Okay. The reason why I did that is because once the firewall is turned off, then the other computer can see this computer, ping it, and then also be able to connect to the share. And then we'll do the Robocopy. So we only got one more step left. Okay, so let me do an net. Let's see, ipconfig /all more. Let's see what our address is. Okay, so my address here is this number right here. Can you see that? Edit, mark. That's my IP address with the network cables plugged in between the two computers. Now this 169.254, that's part of what's called auto discovery for DHCP. If it can't get an address through a DHCP server, it's going to auto populate this with something of its own. It just means here's a number, you're not on the network, but if you need to communicate through the Ethernet port from the outside in, that's the IP address. So let me pause that. We'll remember that number on the other computer. So stand by, we're going to move to the other computer. Okay, so now we're on the other computer, the new one. We were just talking about the old one. And the one thing you have to do is bring up a command prompt. You don't have to do anything crazy. And I'm just going to go to the desktop folder, make a directory called data. Okay, I'm going to switch into that data directory. Now remember that IP address of the other computer. If I do on ipconfig all more here, you'll see that I'm on the same network, 169.254.71.35, and he's 158.139. That doesn't matter. So let's see if we can ping that other address, the other address of the computer that we were just on, since we turned off the firewall as well. Okay, so it's replying back. So that means I can talk to it. Now, here's the interesting problem. If I go to connect to it, okay, net use, I'll say X, and then that address, 169.254.158.139 \C, it says username and password. Well, I shared it out to everyone. Do I need a password? Yes or no? Nope. System error occurred. So let's try it again. I'll just type in his username. I'll just say Kel. No password. See if it'll let me in. It won't. You know why? Because there's restrictions on sharing that require username and password level. So we're just going to put a simple password on the other computer so we can connect to it in order to avoid and bypass this account restriction. So let me switch back over and show you that. So hold still. Okay, so we're back over to the other computer. So net users. Okay, so administrator and this account name KEL. So if I'm going to, and if I type a set command, I can see that the user profile is Kel. That's where my data is, okay? So if I bring up a new command prompt, it just drops me into that profile, okay? So I'm in an administrative prompt right now, anyhow. So I'm going to say net user Kel, okay, asterisk, and it will say, give me a password. And in this case, I'm just going to do Kel again. Okay, so I just went ahead and put in his username and password as Kel. Okay, no big deal. It's just something I'll temporarily use. He didn't have a password on his computer before. I just put one on there to complete the connection over on the other computer. So let's go back over there now. Okay, so we're back at the other computer, and I'm going to just press the up arrow key, or you can press F7, and it'll show you your history of commands. Okay, just like in Unix, you can say history. You can clear your history, history-C. But in this case, I'll just press the up arrow key. Where was it? Down there, and I'll press enter, and it'll say what username and password we just put on KEL. Guess what? Now I'm successfully connected. All right. So in this case, X is the drive letter. So we'll go over there. Now we're looking at his computer on the new computer. So we're going to go into his user profile, users, CD Kel. Okay. Now, he might have a lot of stuff in here. I don't know. I didn't check how much data he has, but it doesn't really matter. So on my C drive, I'm in the desktop data. So that's where I'm going to copy over his data from the old computer to the new one. And once it's copied over, then I'm going to move it into his profile. The reason why I put it inside the data directory inside his profile is so it gets the right permissions of the existing profile. Okay? So I don't care if his profile over there is called Kel and this new one is called owner. We can always change that on the surface. Just rename the account name later on. And we'll take off the password on his old computer in case he wants it off. Okay? I always like a password on it. Not necessarily the same thing as his username, but in this case, for convenience, we're just doing that. So, what do we do now? Do we need to do anything more? No. At this point, we're just going to robocopy all of this data. So this is the last step, and I'm just going to tell you this is how I do it. Robocopy X to C / mirror / wait 0 / retry 0 / exclude jump points / exclude data, app data, exclude files, nt star, don't need any of the nt stuff, / copy dat / dcopy t. Okay, now when I start this command, it's going to go ahead and start copying all of this data. Now if you look at that command, I mean that command's pretty straightforward. I'll zoom in on it, but that is the command you use to properly copy over multi-threaded, extremely fast on a gigabit crossover, or just the wire is not a crossover cable, it's just a standard network cable. Because the Ethernet jacks auto sense another Ethernet port, they auto switch the two wires in the RJ45 connector automatically for you. Okay, so that's it. So this might take a while. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it. We'll come back when it's done, and we'll see how long it takes, okay? Because at the end of the robocopy command, I did do that right. Robocopy X to C, source, destination, mirror it, wait 0, retry 0, exclude jump points, exclude data, app data. We can always copy over the app data individually, like for bookmarks, Outlook, PSD files, passwords, you name it, all the extraneous stuff that's in the profile. And then any other data that we don't get the first time around, like his public stuff. If he has Intuit, he's got a public folder outside the user, inside the users, but that's it. nt start exclude files, copy dat, so it grabs the date and time. We're not grabbing his permissions, we're just, and then decopy is the directory, capture the date and time on the directories. So that's it. So let's pause that, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. I was in the other office working on our blog, and I figured by now it might be backed up or not. So anyhow, it did finish. It transferred over 6.8 gigabytes. You'll see that right here. And it had 269 megabytes extra because I stopped it because there were some cache files on the desktop from a Firefox old data folder. I didn't want to bring that over because it was just a ton of cache files. I mean, thousands of files. So I stopped the Robocopy and then cleaned up that directory on the source hard drive in his profile. And then I came back over here and restarted the Robocopy. And it worked out pretty good. As you can see, the total time, let's see, what was it? Speed, time ended, 11:58. I don't remember when I started, but I guess it doesn't matter. But the time was 4 minutes, 12 seconds. So, plus or minus a minute, I think. Plus or minus a minute, because I had stopped it, cleaned up the file system, and then restarted it. All I did is just Control C, and then up arrow and continue on. I did include the downloads folder. It wasn't that much. I did include his OneDrive and some other things. I didn't show you all of his files because it's confidential. What else? I think that's about it. So what we do now is stop this video, and I'll do a quick wrap up and tell you more about what we need to do. Okay? So hold still. Okay, so I'm back on his old computer. I think you can see this okay. Back on his old computer. So I'm going to put the net user kel. I'm going to put the password back to blank. Okay, that's one. Number two, I'm going to stop the share. So I'm going to say net share, and you'll see the C at the bottom right there. So I'm going to say net share up arrow C/D. So yes, go ahead and disconnect it. That's because I'm sitting on the X drive over there. So it says some files are still not operational before the file's closed. Yeah, no problem. What else? Oh, go back to his firewall. Turn that back on. Enable Smart Firewall. And that's it. I'm not worried about anything else I need to copy over. We'll just copy over his licenses, reinstall his software, reapply his licenses, and configure his desktop and everything else appropriately, okay? So anyhow, this is Andy from Mountain Computers, the Go Green PC tune-up guy. It's pretty straightforward. If you have, let me stop this for a second. I'll talk to you in person. Okay, we're back. So let me describe to you. Sometimes I'll have people with a data drive that's hundreds of gigabytes and hundreds or terabytes in that matter. Sometimes I'll pull the drive and just move their data drive across. Okay. In this case, they wanted pretty much new everything. We took it from a platter drive, 1 terabyte platter drive, and we moved it over to, was it a 1 terabyte or 500? I think it's 1 terabyte. Over to a 1 terabyte NVMe drive. Okay, so platter versus NVMe SSD. Actually, it's NVMe, and it's not SSD, but it's a Samsung Evo 970. It's 5 times faster than SSD. NVMe is 5 times faster than SSD. 550 megabytes per second versus 3,500 megabytes per second. That is fast. He wants fast. And as far as the RAM goes, we've got 64 gig of RAM on this. I'm going to take out 1 chip and leave it in the B slot, the B1 slot I think it is, B2, A1, A2, I think it's A2. So I'll have 32 gig of RAM. He doesn't need 64. We'll save that for another client and adjust the price on the invoice because we estimated it and quoted them out. A fair price, a very fair price. What else does he need? It has Windows 10 Pro. He had Windows 7 Pro. No big deal. Anything else? I think that's about it. But if you have any questions or comments or anything, put those down below in this video. I'll go ahead and splice this video together. I'll try and do some like screen wipes or something cool. I usually just cut to the next scene like I'll show you. And the video we did yesterday was a little garbled. There was some stuff in the background noise that I dumped the video yesterday because it just didn't come out right. But it was nonetheless it was very important. It had to do with previous clients and previous technical people that we know and we communicate with regularly, and we give them feedback. But they're talking about things now that has been in the industry for 3-4 years, 2-3-4 years. They're acting like it's brand new news today, and that's not right. You want people to be technically accurate and fair. Maybe they just came to the information, but for me, I stay on top of the information every single day. I mean, I get so much. I mean, Bill Gates used to read, what, 30 magazines a day? My equivalent to scanning the industry news every day, all the time, is equivalent to that. I wouldn't say I put him on myself and Bill at the same level. That's too arrogant, too pompous. I'll be humble. But when somebody tells me, why were all the cell phones out yesterday? Well, it was in the news this morning and it didn't affect me because I don't stay on my phone all the time, my cell phone. But yeah, this is Andy from Mountain Computers. I hope you liked this little demonstration here of just putting in a network cable between 2 computers, setting up the sharing, turning off the firewall, looking at the IP address, which is on not DHCP, which is a reserved 169 whatever, and then coming over here, connecting the drive letter. We'll disconnect the drive letter, say netuse space x colon space /d to disconnect the connected drive letter. And we'll finish wrapping up his configuration, make it look exactly the same as his old one. And then we'll deliver his computer for him. He's a good old customer of ours, and he wanted a new system, a real top-of-the-line one. So I said, sure, I think I got something. I usually reserve these for like engineering types, but he's a retired, extremely smart guy, so he'll like this. So anyhow, Andy from Mountain Computers, the Go Green PC Tune-Up guy. Like, subscribe, and share, and have a great day.